Hey everyone, I thought I'd do a quick review on my mini bass boat. I actually have a real bass boat, which is right there, but my wife likes to paddleboard in a smaller lake, Castaic Lower Lake, or also known as a lagoon. So I tried paddleboard fishing a couple of times, didn't work out. So I decided to get a mini bass boat. Found this on Craigslist. It's a 2012 Dolphin Sportsman. Got it for a great deal. It's used. Previous owner drilled a couple of holes here and there, so I had to patch things up like that. And found a Minn Kota motor online for pretty cheap. Got a Lowrance Mark 5X DSI, which is not the greatest unit, but serves its purpose, so that's fine. And another little battery for the Mighty Max battery. Gotta love eBay. I read somewhere that it's not good to hook it up to the same battery as a trolling motor, so I just got in the smaller battery. Hooked up an anchor setup. I think these are really for kayaks, but works fine. And then, so I don't have to keep pulling in the rope, I bought a cord reel that's designed for, I guess, extension cords. And so it doesn't move around. I just put a rope here. Yeah, it's pretty simple. You just hold and reel in. And this here, if you pull, it unlocks it, so that'll go down. And when you pull it up, just if you go low, it'll just lock it back into place and secure it. So that's a cool little feature. And let's see, got one bait caster and spinner rod on. I installed a couple of rod holders that are removable, so if I don't want them, I don't need to have them get in the way. This boat is pretty cool. This seat actually just slides up and down the tracks. So if I want to stand, I'll just shove it all the way back there and just stand. Pretty stable. It is only 4 feet wide by 8 feet long, so since it is kind of the catamaran or pontoon style setup, it is stable for what it is. But it does rock around, so if I'm shifting my weight and putting the weight on the left or right side, it will rock. So it keeps you on your toes. You need to be balanced. Let's see, got my to-go tackle box that has all my stuff. Cheap Walmart battery that sucks. I think they only last about a year. I think next time I'll get something a little better. Life jacket, paddle, folding net. And to prevent the battery from moving around, I put a couple of tabs. They're just L tabs from a hardware store. I got one on each side that kind of secures this into place. Thought it'd be nice to be able to charge my phone if I need, so went to the dollar store and got a cable and charger. And I have no idea when I bought this, but I actually had one of these lying around that just connects with the alligator clips, so that's fine. And this thing comes pre-rigged for a trolling motor, so there's a little plug over there, and the wire spits out right there, just hooks up. I didn't want to have to carry a wrench with me all the time, so I found this little IKEA tool that I had lying around. I had to grind the edges out so it'll actually fit. So it does fit now. So that's great. Got some rope when I dock, 1-inch tie downs for when I actually transport the boat. Since I don't have a pickup truck to transport it, found this cool little folding trailer on Harbor Freight. Took me a full day to assemble, and when it does stand, it stands on these caster wheels, so that's pretty cool. And I didn't want to scratch up this new trailer, so instead of actually putting a whole plank of wood like most people use when they have trailers like this, I just put strips. These are like 60 cents for, I think, 10 feet or whatever it was. So I just double-sided tape and secure them with screws from underneath. So there's, I think, 3 screws on each side. That's not going anywhere. It's Minn Kota 30. It does its job. I'm not speeding down the lake, but I'm putting around, getting place to place. Oops. This thing does extend. And then we've got the transducer right there. I know they sell a flush mount transducer, but why do I want to pay $20 when I could just get a hose clamp and it works fine. Had a whole bunch of wires, so I just tied that down. What else? When it folds, the license plate actually sticks out and hits against this wall. So I thought I'd just put it on rings, but then it flaps around too much when I'm driving, so I might just actually bolt it on and not bolt it on. And went out for the first time yesterday and caught my personal best 5-pound 3-ounce bass on this little thing. So pretty excited about that. But when I was on the lake, I realized that it is annoying having to always readjust or use your hand to move around. And unlike my ProCraft, where I have a foot trolling motor, this thing, I'm always having to take a hand off the rod or whatnot. So I decided I'm going to look into getting a foot trolling motor for this, a foot control. So I went on Craigslist, found a motor guide that was pretty cheap, and it wasn't working, so I picked it up for 25 bucks, and then took it apart, cleaned some of the connections, and lubed up the dial, plugged it onto a battery, and sure enough, it does work. But the only thing is the foot control does not steer. And then turns out on top, this rack, there's a bracket that holds it in place, and that broke, as you can see right there. And this is a $10 item. I'm going to go ahead and order one, put everything back together, and I should have a trolling motor as a foot control. Now, as far as mounting it, oh yeah, I'm going to repaint all of this. As far as mounting it, usually you use these tabs here, and then it'll just kind of lay flat. But turns out that it has a groove down the center line, which works perfectly for this little ledge. So if I just get my rod out of the way. So yeah, it sits perfectly. There's about a 1/4 inch gap on either side. So I'm going to try to center it, and got a piece of wood, 1/4 inch, and secure it so it'll be nice and tight and sandwiched in there. And I'm just going to probably drill a series of 5 or 6 holes, get some long bolts, and just secure from the sideline instead of having to use these holes here on this tab. I might actually just cut this tab off, just grind it off so it'll be nice and clean. And once this is all painted, that will work. That'll get rid of that trolling motor. I'll have a foot mount so I can keep my hands on my rods while I'm fishing. Yeah, that'll work. And thing is, that thing is so long that if I actually try to have it at the same level where my existing trolling motor is, the top end will stick out probably 2 feet, 2.5 feet above this bracket here. So I'm going to research if it's possible to cut down the shaft. If not, 2.5 feet high, that's not a problem. Yeah, so now that I'm getting all excited, I think I'm going to actually paint this also to make it look like a bass boat. Thinking of different colors, but since I got orange on the spool and orange on the tie downs, I'm thinking I'll go with orange. So I'll probably just do like a little graphic with a stripe and cover up the paint line with 1-inch white stripe, vinyl striping. So yeah, this whole back end will be orange. It'll come up, curve around. I'll paint the top lip all the way around orange. The inside I won't touch. Yeah, so we'll see how that comes out. All right. There she is. Oh, it does come with 2 seats, by the way. I guess it's designed for a 2-man bass boat. But since I fish solo most of the time, the other seat is over there. Oh, I'm working on my ProCraft, so that's all my junk for the ProCraft. Got new seats, new fish finders, new trolling motor and whatnot. Okay. Well, there she is. My little dinky little bass boat. Good times. All right. Take care, everyone.